Welcome to Temple Sinai. Welcome to this performance of My Soul's Been Anchored, a Black and Jewish American story. At this time, please take out your cell phone and silence it so that nobody looks at you angrily and gives you a death stare. Enjoy the performance.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little shine. All through the night time, I'm gonna let it shine. All through the night time, I'm gonna let it shine. All through the night time, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna let it shine. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna let it shine. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine. Well, good afternoon, everyone. So I thought I'd start with this little light of mine because I think we could all use a little bit of extra light in our lives these days. Am I right? So I really like the title of my subtitle of this program, A Black and Jewish American Story. It's a Black and Jewish American story. It's not the story of every mixed kid, every Black kid, every Jewish kid, every gay kid. But it's my story among many stories. So when I was looking at the name of the program a few days ago, I thought I wish I had changed one word. Instead of a Black and Jewish American story, maybe I could have said a Black and Jewish American dream. Because I love the idea of what the American dream could be. I think the American dream is people coming together whose ancestors are from many different parts of the world, coming together and creating something special, and creating something meaningful. And I'd like to think that that's what my parents did. I'd like to think that this could be not a story about my life, but today could be really a love letter to my parents. So that's what this program is. It's a love letter to Marcia and Warren Fair. Well, I brought some pictures. You want to see some pictures? All right, so here's a picture. That's Warren Fair. That's Marcia Fair. Let's talk about one of these people. That's Warren Fair. I want to say he was in his early 20s, maybe. All right, so my dad was the youngest of 7 children. He grew up in West Baltimore, in a town now, in an area we call Sandtown, Winchester. And, these are his parents. These are my grandparents. That's my grandma Rose and my grandfather. His name was JT. And JT was a private in the Korean War. And when the war ended, he worked on the docks of Baltimore, at what we call the Port of Baltimore. And he was a laborer there. And my grandmother, she was a house cleaner. She worked specifically for one family, and she would just go in the morning and come back at night. That lady is my mom. That's Marcia Fair, Marcia Goldman Fair. And she had a very different life than my dad. She grew up on Long Island in a town called Hicksville. Oh, I see some nods. Maybe some of you have heard that on the Long Island Railroad. And these are her parents. My grandfather, his name Irwin, and my grandmother, my grandma Esther. And my grandfather was a trained, he studied mathematics in college. But what he really did with his life was he co-owned and ran Goldman Brothers, which was my mother's middle name is Goldman, Marcia Goldman Fair. And this place sells uniforms and sporting goods. And the store is now closed, but in my childhood, we used to run around the back rooms, and it was this real source of pride for our family. So already you're hearing two very different families. My mom grew up in this, upper middle class Jewish family. Parents were educated formally, and my dad had a whole different family history. All right. So, identity. Who was I growing up, and how did I get that identity to myself? I want to tell you first, my mom, she just exuded Jewish pride. And I grew up feeling like I was this Jewish kid. And my mom told us so many stories about how our ancestors are from Minsk and Odessa and Belarus and Russia, Poland, and how our family came here and immigrated here, and we have this rich story of coming from nothing and making our way to something. And it was the classic Jewish American story that she told us all the time. I wish I could tell you that that's how my dad felt about us and our lives and his history. I wish I could tell you that my dad had all this black pride, but he did not, or at least he didn't convey that to us. My dad's blackness was a source of pain for him. I heard my whole life he was treated so poorly by white people, and he would always come home and say, "It's 'cause I'm black. It's 'cause I'm black." Somebody who worked behind the counter at a CVS would give him a cross look, or he couldn't get ahead in some way, or there was an opportunity denied, and he would just talk about it all the time. And my mom and I theorized that my father was dyslexic. So you can imagine, it's the 1960s. My father grew up on welfare, so it's in a poor neighborhood. And a kid has dyslexia. You can imagine there's probably not a lot of resources or even acknowledgement. So here he's growing up, he's making his way through middle school and high school, and he probably felt stupid because he had trouble reading. And then I know that he got into the University of Maryland and played college basketball there, but he dropped out. And I know that subconsciously, and maybe consciously, he just knew that white people were the source of him not being able to get where he wanted in this world. And it was just a part of everyday life. My father feeling so resentful, like just couldn't stand, I hate to say this, he just couldn't stand white people. He couldn't stand them. And if we ever had like a white plumber or somebody come, he would say, "Watch them, make sure they don't steal anything." So being black didn't feel good for him. Because my mouth is wide with laughter, and my You do not think I suffer after I have held my pain so long. Because my mouth is wide with laughter, you do not hear my inner cry. Because my feet are gay with dancing, you do not know I die. You do not know I die. All right, you see these people? That's me on the left, my brother Jason on the right, and that's Justin on at the bottom there. So this picture is the multicultural festival at my elementary school. And my mom thought to dress us up in cute little outfits, and we were like, the Jews. Our neighborhood in Baltimore was a neighborhood called Woodlawn. And if anybody listened to Serial maybe 10 years ago, this is the Adnan Syed town. No Jews for miles. No Jews for miles. So it was really just our household. So I didn't grow up around other Jewish people. And I felt very special to be Jewish. So I told you about how my father felt about white people. So you might be saying, if your father has such resentment for white people, how can he marry your mom? That doesn't make any sense. Well, when I was a teenager, I was sitting at the computer. These are the days when you had a household computer. And my dad was going off on some tirade about white people. And I said, well, then why would you marry mom? And he looked at me like, what a dumb question. And he said, boy, your mother Jewish. So maybe some of you know what he meant when he said that. So in the 1960s and earlier, racism and anti-Semitism, they went hand in hand. There were pools that Black people couldn't go to and Jews couldn't go to. There were country clubs that wouldn't accept the Black people and Jews. And my father told me that in his neighborhood, you see, the Jewish shop owners couldn't put their stores in the wealthy white areas of town because there was anti-Semitism and nobody would patronize those shops. So they opened up little grocery stores and bodegas, they didn't call them bodegas back then, in the Black areas of town. So my father said that the grocers and stuff, those people were Jewish and in his childhood, and the Jewish people were the kind people, and they were the allies. And my father knew, just inherently, it was commonly known that, and I have some pictures to show this. Oh yeah, that's my parents again. They got married, and that's them there. Oh my gosh. I had a picture of Martin Luther King and Rabbi Joachim Prince. And I had a picture of Abraham Joshua Heschel with Dr. King. That was commonly known back then, and that Jews and Black people created the NAACP. So in my father's mind, Jewish people were like a whole different flavor of white people. They were not the Christian white people that he had heard of and all of that. All right, so now we're back on track. My parents met in 1983 and they fell in love and they got married. And that's their picture. They got married at the Baltimore Hilton. And then they had me. Yes, I was probably 2 or 3 in that picture. And my grandfather, okay, so these are my mom's parents and my dad. So that must have been that might have been like the day that they met him. And my grandfather, Irwin Goldman, my mom said that because I was looking for drama, like, oh my gosh, tell me, was there incredible racism in our family? Did people like couldn't stand that you were dating a black man? And here's the real thing. My mother, when my mom married my dad, that was actually her second marriage. She married this Italian fella who was her high school sweetheart. And my grandparents disapproved of the marriage and couldn't stand that she married this guy. And that marriage lasted for 1 year. But my mom was like a wild child, and she didn't meet my dad until she was like 30, and my grandparents were worried. So when they heard that my mom had met this stable man who wasn't some ruffian from Hicksville High School, they really liked him. I know it's not the exciting dramatic story you see on Oprah, but that's the story. My grandfather only had one caveat. He said, "Your children must be raised Jewish." And my dad said, fine. My dad never really connected with his Catholic upbringing. So he said, no problem. All right. So, oh yeah, that's another picture outside of our house. Yeah, that's me right there. Yeah. My mom would tell me that my grandfather and my dad would go to hardware stores together. So that's a sweet thing. There we go. That's the picture I was looking for earlier. Okay. That's Rabbi Joachim Prince on the right, and that's Heschel on the left. All right. So I went to elementary school, and those years were beautiful and wonderful. My parents had moved into a multiracial neighborhood, and I had friends of all colors. And then by middle school, white flight had happened. And the white people moved out of our neighborhood. And I really grew up in like a black neighborhood. And in a poor black neighborhood, you have a lot. It was difficult to be me. Like, children in general did not look kindly upon a kid who had these growing gay mannerisms. But in the black community, it's different. It's just like, it's beyond unacceptable. It's something to do with toxic masculinity. It's just like, it was so anathema to being black. And I probably got beat up twice a year from middle school onward from kids I didn't even know. They just saw me and I couldn't help it. I was starting to act and walk and all of that. I even have videos that my dad took of us at the zoo, and I couldn't have been more than 10. And I was like, that's a gay boy. I just know that is a gay boy. So I had a lot of trouble making friends, and a lot of it had to do with my racial makeup. I didn't feel, I mean, I was raised by my dad's family in Baltimore, and I knew I was part of a black family, but I didn't feel pride in being black because it was such a problem for my dad, and I didn't really identify with any culture. I just knew that the white kids, they skateboarded and wore Jinko pants. Jinkos was a brand back then. It was like wide leg. And they listened to Bush and Smashing Pumpkins. And I did not want any of that. And then the black kids, they were listening to rap and they had the FUBU pants, like really baggy. And I didn't want that. And I didn't know where I was supposed to fit in. I mean, I loved Julie Andrews. That was my music. I was taking tap dancing classes at that point. And I loved Debbie Friedman. All right. Little David, play on your harp, hallelujah, hallelujah. Little David, play on your harp, hallelujah. Little David, play on your harp, hallelujah, hallelujah. Little David, play on your harp, hallelujah. Joshua was the son of Nun. He never would stop till his work was done. Little David, play on your harp, hallelujah, hallelujah. Little David, play on your harp, hallelujah. David was a shepherd boy. He killed Goliath and he shouted for joy. And he shouted for joy. Little David, play on your harp, hallelujah, hallelujah. Little David, play on your harp, hallelujah. Play on your harp, play on your harp. I keep meaning to turn the slide before I sing, and then that doesn't happen. All right, so, oh my God, I can't tell you all how much I loved being Jewish. I still do. My mom had all this pride in being Jewish, and I didn't grow up around Jewish people, and I didn't fit in middle school and whatever, and going to the synagogue, oh, that was great. I loved soaking in everything that I was learning. I loved learning about kosher and Torah and all of the rules, and I took to Hebrew really well. I can't do Spanish, study that forever, but Hebrew I could do. And I was part of the choir, Mrs. Sugar's choir, and we sang all over town. We went to like Jewish retirement homes, and we sang at the Owings Mills Mall. I mean, did you all sing at the Owings Mills Mall? No. The synagogue's where I felt safe. It was the place where I didn't feel that I didn't fit in. My teachers loved me because I actually wanted to be there. I mean, the other kids, they went to the Jewish public high school and they were like, oh, Jew this, Jew that. And I was like, Jew this and Jew that. Did I have like friendships with the other boys in my religious school? No, of course not. No. I mean, I'm still gay, but I didn't care. I didn't need these little Jewish boys to be friends with me. I mean, I had Judaism. I had God. I had music. Everything has its season, everything has its time. Show me a reason and I'll soon show you a rhyme. Cats fit on the windowsill, children fit in the snow. Why do I feel like I don't fit in anywhere I go? Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. every man has his goals. People like the way dreams have of sticking to the soul. Thunderclouds have their lightning, nightingales have their song. And don't you see, I want my life to be something more than long. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've gotta be where my spirits can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky. So many men seem destined to settle for something small, but I won't rest until I know I had it all. Don't ask where I'm going, just to listen when I'm gone. And far away you'll hear me singing softly to the dawn. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirits can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky. So, even though I was having a really hard time socially, I didn't fit in, nobody wanted to be my friend, there was one place in middle school where I found solace, and that was in the choir. I went to a magnet middle school where we did this like a specific activity every single day, and I was in Miss Harvey's chorus every single day. And here's a picture of Mrs. Harvey. We connected on LinkedIn like 5 years ago, and it was really wonderful. And Miss Harvey loved spirituals. And one spiritual we sang was Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. And it was my first time singing a spiritual, and I didn't appreciate it at the time. But this spiritual, it stuck with me throughout my entire life. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels watching over me. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home, just tell my friends I'm coming home too. Coming for to carry me home. it's occurring to me now, I am parched. No, but oh, somebody's going out to get me some water. Okay. All right, well then I'm gonna continue. All right, so there was a point in my life when I started to feel differently about my blackness, and it was in high school. There was this poetry teacher. She was white and her husband was black, and they had a son. And she had just approached me in the hallway one day, and she said, I am bringing to our high school a competition run by the NAACP. It's called Act So. And it was a competition that wanted to foster African American children excelling in the arts and performing, and it awarded college scholarships. So I said, okay, I could use some college scholarship. Why not? And I competed, and it was really amazing because I remembered seeing other Black children doing artistic stuff, and I felt like, oh, I'm not the only one. It just felt good. It felt good to see that. And I won third place, I'll have you know. That was very exciting. And it was the first time I thought positively about Blackness, and it meant something. So I went to college, and I feel like college is when I really woke up. I woke up because I couldn't put off admitting to myself that I'm not like the other kids. I felt gay. I just was like, I need to tell people. I need to be me. Sweet boy, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'm a new man. Oh my gosh. And I remember we were reading a book in one of my college classes called The Laramie Project. And The Laramie Project is it's the story, it's a play. I was a theater major at the University of Maryland, College Park. And it's a play about a young college student who was attacked by these two men and murdered simply because he was gay in Laramie, Wyoming. And so we are reading this play, and I was feeling so uncomfortable. And I remember I actually left the classroom as if I was going to the bathroom, but I never came back. Like, I came back hours later to pick up my book bag and stuff. And that's when I told my friend Brittany. I think she said, how come you left in the middle of class? And I told her, and that was the first time I told anybody, literally anybody. And my whole life got better. My entire life got better after that. I started making friends for the first time. And I think it's because people are drawn to people who love themselves, people who are positive, people who exude positive energy. And you can't do that when you hate yourself. So I was starting to love myself, and suddenly I had friends, and it was amazing. All right, so I'm in college, and I'm a theater major, and I'm studying all these plays, and I took a class. It was the plays of August Wilson. And I had this really cool professor, Dr. Phaedra Carpenter, and she specializes in critical race theory and theater history. And we read these plays, and it was amazing. You have to understand, my perception of Blackness was through the eyes of one man, my father, and his feelings. And it was about a specific place and a specific time. And going to college is really amazing because you're exposed to so many different philosophies and views, and you're reading books and you're meeting new people. And suddenly my eyes were opened, and I started to feel this incredible pride in Blackness. And look what our people have done. Look at what we've overcome. And then I was starting to read other things by incredible Black people. Oh my gosh, there we go. I started to read like A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Anna Devere Smith, she was an incredible playwright, meaningful to me. And then I read for colored girls who have committed suicide / When the Rainbow is Enough. And that was by Ntozake Shange. And it was, how can I explain it other than it was like I found a new part of myself, and a part of myself that I had never really acknowledged. And there's something about being part of a minority group that gives you a sense of belonging. When I found that when I started embracing being part of the Black community started embracing me. There's a secret code among Black people. When Black men see each other in the wild, we nod. We just acknowledge each other's presence in this world. So a few weekends ago, I went to Macy's, and so I'm seeing these jeans, and they're like $70, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't pay $70. So I go to the Black cashier and I say, are these really $70? Is there any way around that? And she said, there's going to be a half off sale. And she got out her calendar and she showed me. She said, buy them today, return them, and get them out again on this day. And I mean, smart, right? Smart. But that's Black people look out for each other. What else here? Oh yeah, Corey and I went to the Newark Museum of Art, and we went on this day where people who are members get a special tour, and there's this older Black woman with one of her girlfriends, and we were just drawn to each other. Like by the end of it, Corey and I were chatting with her, and we were like each other's buddy, and that happens to me all the time. If any of you have met our clergy assistant, Karen, up in the office up there, Karen is Black, and Karen and I have such fun conversations about Blackness. Such like we were the other day we were talking about vegetables. We were talking about how my grandmother my dad's mom only served me spinach from a frozen block of spinach and would put an entire stick of butter in there. And it would always had pork. Always, always, always. And then one day in my 20s, I went to Long Island to spend the weekend with my grandma Esta, and she gave me something that was not that. It was like leaves from a bag with like a little bit of salt. And I mean, and we were talking about the fact that like Black people do not have their curtains wide open for the world to see into your home. That is a white person thing. And we don't walk around barefoot. I mean, it was so forbidden in my house. And it's these kind of fun conversations that it opened up my whole life, and it changed how I thought about being Black. And before I knew it, I was reading all these books on critical race theory. And during the pandemic, these synagogues would reach out to me to lead these Zoom education sessions, because that was when Floyd was murdered. And I was just soaking up all this literature and spitting it back out, and I became this like race education guy, and it just felt good. It felt good to be that and to represent that and to tell these synagogues, if your website does not have one person of color on any page, you can't be shocked when people of color don't want to be members at your synagogue. And I would say things like that, and I felt good. All right. So I love spirituals, as you can probably tell. When I sing spirituals, I mean, I didn't grow up with them. I didn't go to a Black church or anything. But when I discovered them as an adult, something happens to me. Something happens to me. I really feel like I'm channeling my ancestors. I mean, all of a sudden, I know exactly how to speak. I know the cadence of words. I feel the ancestors coming through. And now when people say to me, like, what, well, people say to, when I was a kid, people would say, what are you? What are you? And the kids would say that. It's not because they thought, oh, what an interesting looking person. I would just like to know his story. No, kids are tribal. So they would ask me that because they were looking for information. They wanted to know if they could be friends with me. And I hated that. I just hated it. And now people still ask me, what are you? But back then, I would say, look, my mom's white, my dad's black, leave me alone. And now I just say, I'm blackety black, I'm black. And it feels good. It feels good, it feels right. I'm telling you, if this was the 1920s, I'd be going to the For Coloreds Only water fountain. That's what would be the case. It just feels right. Out of the ruins and rubble, out of the smoke, out of our night of trouble, can you see a ray of hope? One pale thin ray reaching for the day. We can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but we can build a city of men. We may not reach the ending, but we can start slowly but truly mending, brick by brick, heart by heart. Now, maybe now, we start learning how we can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but we can build a city of men. When your trust is all but shattered, when your faith is all but killed, you can give up bitter and battered, or we can slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but finally a city of men. A city of men. Okay, well, is that what I wanted? Yeah. Okay. So I graduated from the University of Maryland, and I took classes in Jewish history. And it was great. It was cool. It was a part of my identity. I really loved it. I didn't want to be a cantor. Everyone told me my whole life, you should be a cantor. And I was just like, you don't know me. I don't like being predictable. I loved opera. I loved opera. I mean, it was so dramatic and it just fills the words with your voice and like it just full-throated singing, and I loved it, and I had to do it. I had to do it. I had to do it. So I went to the Cleveland Institute of Music, and here I got to sing the beloved music that stirred my soul. Wo ist mein Heim, mein Haus? Wo ist für mich ein Tisch, ein Bett bereitet? Was hat geleitet mein Herz zur Rast? Es ist ein Giebelrot, 4 Fenster winken abends in die Ferne. Dort wär ich gerne als müder Gast. Wo ist mein Heim, wo man mich lockt? Wo man die Hand mir gibt? Dort kehr ich ein, dort findet die Ruhe und schließ die Augen zu. Du meiner Zuflucht seicht nicht mehr, und Fenster bin ich auf und ich gegangen mit heißen Wangen auf fremder Erd. Wann ist gewährt mir Heim und Herz? This whole hour I've been like, can I get the B flat? Is the B flat gonna happen? And it happened. Thank you, God. All right. All right, it's 2016 now. I'm living in Chicago, and I was working as an opera singer, a preschool teacher, a coffee barista, a yoga teacher, all at the same time, mind you. And I taught the chorus in a girls' Catholic school. Yeah, it was like Sister Act. It was really exciting. I had worked at Jewish summer camps for 8 years in a row, and then an opportunity came up in Pittsburgh. A synagogue was hiring a cantorial soloist. So that's a synagogue that can't afford a cantor, so they just have someone come and they pay them to sing on Shabbatot and the high holidays. And that was my first little inkling of what being a cantor could be. And I was, at the same time, I was trying to sing an opera. And I was doing these gigs, cantorial soloist here and there. And it was just so clear to me that, like, I couldn't stand the characters in opera. Like, it's like every tenor, he's this whiny, weak dude who's consoling the soprano because her father was killed by the bass. And I just, like, I was like, I'm going to pull my hair out if I have to play one more of these characters. And, but there's something about when you have a whole congregation of people who share your faith, and I'm singing, Kol Nidre, and you feel that everyone is praying with you. And I just kept having these experiences over and over again where singing for the Jews, it just felt like this is working for me. They want me here and I want to be here. And I felt like I could be of service. And opera was just not filling my cup anymore. And I felt like I owed something to the Jewish people. And Judaism gave me so much. I mean, my life was so up and down those days, especially when I was a kid. And like to have like Judaism and to have like people that felt like I belonged there. Like I wanted to do it. So I did it. All right. Oh, that wasn't where I was supposed to go. I was getting all caught up in, okay. So now I'm supposed to tell you about my parents. And, oh God, I can feel tears coming again. I find myself thinking about my parents all the time. And I think like, how did they manage to keep it all together? I mean, Corey and I are just like two gay guys living in an apartment with a cat. Like, we had like at least 10 animals at home. They had 3 children. They had full-time jobs. I don't know how they kept it together. I don't know how they did it. And I just have so much respect now that I think, oh God, that must have been hard. And especially when I think about my mom and how irritated I used to get with her for picking me up late from school. Like, I mean, she just had a long, hard day at work. And the gall of me being upset that she's 15 minutes late. And in some ways, I really feel like I'm killing it in life. Like, I've got a good job. I'm respected. I live comfortably. I'm loved. But in some ways, I don't know what I'm doing and I feel so lost. And I feel like I need so much guidance and support. And like, I've got all these aunts and uncles and cousins, and they're great, but there's nothing like your parents. And I really do understand now what my mom said shortly before she died. She said, it was like after like one of her aunts, like the last aunt had died, and she said, I just feel like my whole family is dead. And I was like, Mom, that's crazy. What do you mean? But I get it. I get it now, because to not be someone's child anymore, it doesn't feel good. So my father had diabetes, and he died from kidney disease when he was 57. And my mom just fell apart after that. She was never happy again. And for 5 years, her health just failed. And at 67, she also died. My mother and we've been together in many lifetimes. We really have been. We always had a very close relationship. And when I no longer lived at home and I would call her, we could be on the phone for hours, hours. And she was my greatest supporter, my constant cheerleader. What do you give to the lady who has given all her life and love to you? What do you give when the reason you are living? I could window shop the world before I'm through. Mama, a rainbow, mama, a sunrise, mama, the moon to wear. That's not good enough, no, not good enough, not for mama. Mama, a palace, doorknobs like diamonds, mountains of gold to spare. That's not rich enough, no, not rich enough, not for mama. Mama, lifetime crowded with laughter, that's not long enough, not half long enough. What can I give you that I can give you? What would your present be? Mama, young and beautiful, always young and beautiful. That's the mama you'll always be. That's the mama with love from me. I was so worried the whole time I'm gonna cry if I sing this song, and I held it together. All right, that was that song. I wanted you to look at that the whole time. All right, whatever. So if I had to sum myself up in one word, it's a good exercise you should try. If you had to sum yourself up in one word, what would that word be? And for me, it would be singer. That is just who I am. That's who I've always known myself to be. But if I had to give myself a second word, I would say believer. I believe in God. God has been this one constant throughout my entire life. God was there in my childhood when I was singing all around Baltimore. God was with me when I was going to Hicksville to visit my grandmother. God was with me at my bar mitzvah. God was there when I told my mom that I was gay. And God was there when Corey told me that he loved me. God was there when I walked up to the bima and I got ordained. God has been there when things have been hard. God was there when my dad died, and then my mom died, and I felt so lost after that. Oh, I've got to sing. I can't be crying. Okay. Okay. So in Psalm 23, it's my favorite psalm. Kristen's nodding. You get it. You get it. It says in that psalm,
Surely goodness and mercies shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This house of the Lord, Beveit Adonai, this is what I endeavor to create wherever I am. And maybe in my stronger moments, I can create this house of God for others. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the Lord, my soul is anchored in the Lord. In the Lord, my soul is anchored in the Lord. Before I stay in hell one day, my soul is anchored in the Lord. I'd sing and pray myself away. My soul is anchored in the Lord, oh Lord. My soul is anchored in the Lord, oh Lord. My soul is anchored in the Lord. I'm gonna pray and never stop. My soul is anchored in the Lord until I've reached that mountaintop. My soul is anchored in the Lord, oh Lord. My soul is anchored in the Lord, good Lord. My soul is anchored in the Lord. In the Lord, my soul is anchored in the Lord. In the Lord,
Babe. All right, Sharon, I believe you got a few words.
Is that good? Okay, not used to a microphone here, but good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sharon Brody, and I'm representing the Hinenu Committee, which is our Embracing Diversity Committee. And I want to start off by just saying what incredible talent we have here. This has just been unbelievable. Your music and your spirit just lifts us up, and I just have to comment on your story as well. Just so poignant and uplifting at the same time. Thank you for sharing so much of yourself. This has just been wonderful. I also want to acknowledge our very talented pianist, Dr. Brian Harlow. And just a few prepared words here. At Temple Sinai, we believe that our unique stories make our community stronger and more vibrant. And music is just one of the ways we can bring people together for a shared experience. To that end, let me just tell you about another upcoming event. Please put Friday, April 3rd on your calendar, where we're gonna have Shabbat in Harmony. This is going to be a truly special joint evening of music making, featuring combined voices of choirs from Temple Sinai, Congregation Or Shalom, and Congregation Beth HaTikvah. It's a rare opportunity to hear these communities come together in song, so please mark your calendars for that. I also want to thank various members of the Hinenu Committee, tell you a little bit about the committee if you're not aware of us, but we sponsor several events during the year. It's really our goal to embrace diversity, both here at Temple Sinai, within the broader Jewish community, and the community at large. And I just want to put a plug in that we have an event coming up also in April 19th. We're going to be seeing the film, previewing it together, Unspoken. The director's going to be there giving some comments via Zoom. But it's a film that's a coming-of-age story about a gay youth in the modern Orthodox community. And we'll see that. It got very, I've heard about it from the Jewish Film Festival. It's supposed to be really good. Finally, even though the music part has ended, we have lots of food. So we're hoping everybody will stay around and enjoy. It's all vegetarian in honor of the cantor. There's a bunch of gluten-free items as well. Just look for a label if you're gluten-free. But please, and Cantor's going to be around too. You can chat with him. And hopefully everybody will be a good opportunity for everybody to just hang out a little bit together. The food's going to be in the chapel, but we have a great turnout here, so feel free to, mill around the building in general. But thank you so much again for coming. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no, actually at all. Yeah, well, it's interesting. Exactly, that's what I say, they say, same here, same here. It's great to do with the city. But I was actually where I teach I actually started.
Hello, sir. Good morning. We laughed that we were there. Yes, you saw that outfit in real time. I wouldn't have put it in 16. I remember you.
I didn't think it was such a tough name.
Well, it made the story better.
Oh, they're gonna give you a hug. That's what I don't really, you don't have to say anything. It was terrific. Just give you a hug. That's great. That was sometimes it takes a while to become who you are. I suppose, right? And become everybody goes through it.
Meet you where.
Yes. Made me think of he was gay. For some reason,
Hi, Cindy, how are you? Nice to see you.
he came out, he was always relying on me to help him with relationship advice. I said, well, okay, I can't help anybody with your advice, but I'm doing this like, can you imagine? I don't know what he thought. I could help.
He trusted you.
I guess he did. He figured out to be honest, and that's all.
We find that people who accept us.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't care. Come on, concern is just that honest. What you deal So I always. You have stories you can
Oh, they were walking together.
But you know.
Oh.
Thanks, Aaron. Likewise. Yeah.
We thought it was so amazing. Oh, wait, I was not sure. Yeah. Another. And I can touch it like. Hi, how are you? Hi. At least he's so sorry. She's okay.
She can be credit for.
That one. This is a very long time.
No.
Not really. Oh, we were never here.
Website.
Were you? No, where are you newer? Oh, well, it feels very.
Emmanuel and Livingston, and he came up with the merger, which is almost 10 years.
My daughter's went to right? Some of those on Northfield. Oh, but yes, Phoenix was the name of the place one day, and it was like, oh, yeah.
There was an early time, like the
Oh,
daycare,
that's
the
right.
little daycare at the time.
Right, that's the
Yeah,
update.
I just can't believe you got like furniture.
Yeah, big fan. I'm sure very sad.
Fossil stuff, and it was
So you have a child with you?
studies for calculus. I know, I tried, and I can't even help her because I cannot do it. So she. I was gonna bring myself.
She watches it. It's on the website. I need to watch it again. I just want to tell you one word.
The first,
Well, you just appreciate
And that's okay, she said it so much.
I agree. Do it.
yes.
And you know how much.
Well, very lucky.
It was wonderful. It couldn't have gone any better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So glad.
With my
Already impressed. Consider it that. I don't need to say it.
Okay.
Try French. How about that? We say in French.
No, never.
But right
Spanish would be the
I
closest.
don't know if face was
Spanish.
visage. Yeah.
Visage, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm better.
I'll possibly like, when did you put it back?
Let's discuss.
Right now.
Describe that. Are you going to be like?
Yeah.
I will live it.
It's
Yeah,
for
I'll have to get a shower.
method,
Figure out how to-
a figure of final physical.
I used to have.
Something.
Oh, we did that with you. Thing to do for special kids. Hey.
You know your status, but,
Oh my God.
Oh, that's hysterical. Oh, that's so
See you soon.
the most part. That is so perfect.
It is all gold.
I would change nothing.
Oh,
Literally nothing.
That was beautiful.
I'm heading out.
All right,
Excuse
all
me,
right.
not yet. Okay, somebody just said to me, "Oh, you're asking me for something." Okay. So you can I was like, you are right. I did a great job.
I remember.
Like we were both in. I sent you your because they're so precious. You did?
Well, that sounds like me, because I'm always.
Oh, yeah.
Another cry.
Oh, gosh. That's going small. All right.
Can I do anything for you, Cantor?
I'm just turning off the sound system.
All right.